Hi, I am Renmark, and welcome to our video tutorial about Java programming. In this video, we will talk about Lesson 1, which is Java Overview. So let's get started. What is Java? Java is a high-level programming language originally developed by Sun Microsystems and released in 1995. Java runs on a variety of platforms such as Windows, Mac OS, and the various versions of Unix. Java is guaranteed to be write once, run anywhere, or yung tinatawag nating WORA. As a general idea, pag sinabi nating WORA, ang ibig sabihin nun ay once na nagsulat at nag-compile ka ng yung Java source code, ay pwede mo na siyang i-run sa iba't ibang platforms like Windows, Mac OS, Linux, and etc. without the need to rewrite and recompile your source code. We'll get more into that topic later sa mga susunod nating mga slides. Next, we have the three levels of programming languages. We have low-level, mid-level, and high-level programming language. Low-level or machine language, ito yon, is a level of programming language where programmers uses binary numbers, which is ones and zeros, to create an instructions that the computer can directly understand. In low level, no translations is needed for the computer to understand the given instructions, since the language used is already in the machine's native language. A good example of machine language is this. If we had to add x plus y and store it to variable z, this is how it will look like in low-level language. The programmer had to write all the expressions in binary para lang ma-execute ng computer yung instruction na gusto nating gawin niya, which is in this case, z is equals to x plus y. This level of programming sucks. It is very hard. If not, it's suicide. That's why early programmers tried to make improvements into this. Kaya nagkaroon tayo ng second level language, which is the mid-level language. Mid-level language, ito po yun, also known as assembly language, is a language wherein the programmer uses mnemonics or special symbols in order to issue commands to the computer. A good example of an assembly language is this. As you can see, it's simpler compared to writing programs into low-level form. Although, you might find that the mnemonics is still kind of confusing and hard. Well, you are right, it is still hard. Well, don't bother much because Java doesn't fall in the mid-level category. Also, you have to remember that since assembly language isn't written in binary, which is the native language of the computer, a translation of code must be performed first before a program written in assembly language can be executed by the computer. We need a software that will translate these mnemonics, this one, into binary, and we call this software as assembler. The assembler is a special type of software that translates our assembly code into binary code in order for the machine to understand and execute the instructions written in assembly language. The third one is the high-level language, this one. The high-level language in which Java is belong, as indicated in the previous slide, high-level language is the most used level of programming language nowadays. Since it is the simplest level of programming language and because it is human readable in form. Commands and statements are written in English, and syntax are easy to understand and well-defined. A good example of a high-level language is the simple piece of code, which is intended to add two numbers. As you can see, compared to the previous levels of programming language, this is the most human-readable in form. Indeed, it is very easy to understand. That is why I always tell my students that they were so lucky they only had to write programs in high-level language, especially when they complain that programming is hard. If you think high-level is hard, then try to develop programs using the first two forms, this one and this one. Maybe only then you will appreciate how lucky you are. By the way, a source code written in high-level language should also be translated by either a compiler or an interpreter in order for the machine to understand your instruction. Right now, high-level is the common choice of the most of the programmers in writing a program. Some examples of programming language that are classified as high-level are the following. We have COBOL, Fortran, BASIC, C, C++, and especially Java. An overview of Java. Java programming language was originally developed by Sun Microsystems, which was initiated by James Gosling and released in 1995 as core component of Sun Microsystems Java platform. If you ever wonder why Java ay kay Oracle na ngayon, is because binili ng Oracle ang Java from Sun Microsystems noong January 27, 2010. Pero initially, it was actually owned by Sun Microsystems. And you have to remember that James Gosling is the father of Java programming or Java, since siya naman kasi ang nag-initiate at nag-lead ng Java project. As a part of this very brief history of Java, on June 1991, James Gosling initiated Java language project and initially called Oak after an oak tree that stood outside Gosling's office. Also went by the name Green and ended up later being renamed as Java from a list of random words. At some point on 1995, Sun released the first public implementation of Java as Java 1.0. It promised write once, run anywhere o yung WORA, providing no-cost runtimes on popular platforms. November 13, 2006, when Sun released much of Java as free and open source software under the terms of the GNU General Public License or GPL. While on May 8, 2007, Sun finished the process of making all of Java's core code free and open source, aside from a small portion of code to which Sun did not hold the copyright. Actually, hindi lang naman ito yung buong history ng Java. Medyo mahaba-haba din siya, actually. Kaya sinamarize ko na siya. We will now proceed to the next slide kasi palagay ko naman hindi ganun kalaki yung relevance nito dun sa ating target na learning goals. So, Java is the following. It is object-oriented, platform-independent, simple, secure, architectural neutral, portable, robust, multi-threaded, interpreted, high-performance, distributed, and dynamic. The full definitions for the following can be found on the internet. It will take so much time explaining all of this in detail, so I had to pick the two most relevant features of Java, which are the object-oriented and platform-independent. We will further discuss these two on the following slides. What is object-oriented? Object-oriented, or OOP, is a programming paradigm based on the concept of objects, which can contain data in the form of fields, often known as attributes or properties, and code in the form of procedures, often known as methods. You have to remember that Java is an object-oriented programming language, meaning Java conforms to the idea of using objects in order to build or develop a program. Java, being an OOP, is composed of the following. First, we have a class. This one. A class can be defined as a template or blueprint that describes the behavior or state that the object of its type support. Since Java is built on objects, we need to have a class first. Para makagawa kasi tayo ng isang object, we should first create a blueprint or a plan kung paano natin balak gawin ang isang object. Sa class nakalagay yung mga certain details at specifications kung paano magbe-behave yung ating object, including yung mga certain properties na present dun sa object na gagawin natin. I will elaborate on this on the next slide. Next is we have object. By definition, an object is an instance of a class. Meaning, out of the class or blueprint na meron tayo, we should be able to produce the actual usable object. When I say usable, I mean an object na pwede nang gamitin or i-invoke dun sa loob ng ating Java program. Lastly, we have states and behaviors. All created objects have two things. We have states and behaviors. Kapag sinabi nating states, ito yung mga property ng isang object. For example, a dog. Okay? Although you might think that a dog is not an object, but rather an animal. This is just for an example purposes lang naman. A dog has states like yung color, okay, this one, either black, white, brown, polka dots, and etc. A name, a dog has a name, and a breed as well. Breed like husky, golden retriever, aspin, and etc. Maliban sa states, an object also have behaviors. Okay? Behaviors. Kapag sinabi nating behaviors, ito yung kung ano yung mga ability or functionality ng isang object. In this example, since dog yung object natin, ang mga behaviors ay ang mga sumusunod. Wagging the tail, barking, eating, and etc. To further understand the concept of object-oriented, i-apply natin ito sa totoong buhay. Kapag sinabi nating class, we can relate it into a car's blueprint, such as this one. A car's blueprint is a paper na madalas na may mga nakadrawing at nakasulat na specifications ng isang kotse. Dito nakadetalye kung paano at kung para saan ang bawat component ng isang kotse. Pero we have to remember na hindi pa natin pwedeng gamitin ang blueprint. When I say hindi pa natin pwedeng gamitin, I meant hindi pa siya pwedeng sakyan or i-drive. Because the blueprint is just a set of car specifications na naka-imprint sa papel. Pero yung blueprint na to is yung magiging basis kung paano natin dapat i-manufacture yung isang kotse. Ngayon, if the factory, for example, starts to manufacture yung mga nakalagay dun sa blueprint, magkakaroon tayo ng actual object or an actual car, like this one, na pwede na nating magamit at madrive. Yung kotse na magagawa is patterned mula sa kanyang blueprint, this one, so we can produce as many objects as we want, as long as meron tayong class or blueprint. Then the created object, in this case, the car, will have its own states and behaviors that are also stated in the blueprint. For example, in this case, the states are the following. The car's color is black, it is a hatchback model, and etc. Then the car's behaviors are braking, accelerating, and etc. In Java terms, yung pinag-uusapan nating car's blueprint is equivalent sa isang class, which is a file that contains specification kung ano-ano yung mga magiging states and behaviors na magiging object natin. Now, from the class, we can produce objects na magiging building blocks ng ating Java program. Sa ngayon, yung general idea lang naman ang target kong i-discuss, and hopefully, mas maintindihan nyo yung mga concepts na to further as time goes by. Next is yung concept ng WORA, or yung write once, run anywhere, or simply platform independent. Unlike many other programming languages, including C and C++, when Java is compiled, it is not compiled into platform-specific machine, rather into platform-independent bytecode. Okay? This bytecode is distributed over the web and interpreted by the virtual machine or JVM on whichever platform it is being run on. To further understand how WORA works, let's take a look at the simple animation. For example, nagsulat ka ng isang program gamit ang C++, kunwari. Yung source code na isinulat mo as discussed kanina should be translated gamit ang isang compiler para maintindihan siya ng isang machine. Now, after mong makompile yung C++ source code mo, it will be compiled dun sa native platform na gamit mo. So, kung naka-Windows ka, ang output ng compilation mo will be in exe or executable file. At kung executable file yan, pwede mo lang siyang i-run sa isang Windows platform. Since hindi naman binabasa ng macOS or Linux operating system ang isang exe file, hindi mo ito pwedeng i-run sa mga platforms na ito. Kaya ang ending, need mong mag-code separately for other platforms kung gusto mong gumana yung program mo sa ibang platforms. So in this case, kailangan mo magsulat ng C++ code sa Apple at another program sa Linux. Now, sa Java programming language, iba ang case. Kapag nagsulat ka ng source code mo in Java at nag-compile ka, iba ang magiging output niya. Instead, i-compile siya ng compiler into exe, kung sa Windows ka nagko-code, i-compile niya yan into what we call Java bytecode. Yung Java bytecode na to will be then interpreted by what we call Java Virtual Machine or JVM na naka-install sa lahat or kung hindi man halos lahat ng platform na available. Bale ang JVM ang bumabasa or nag-i-interpret ng bytecode at hindi yung mismong operating system, kaya hindi siya dependent dun sa kung ano ang mga naka-install na operating system sa isang machine. Kaya ang Java ay binansagang WORA, meaning isang beses ka lang susulat ng code, then kapag nag-compile ka, aasahan mo na pwede na siyang gumana across all platforms. I hope you learned something sa lesson nating ito, and that's the end of lesson 1. Credits to tutorialspoint.com as the main source of the content in these tutorials. If you loved this video, kindly drop a thumbs up and subscribe. Thank you.